I, 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 I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it and burned that. Man, the way that I live don't concern that. Man, we gon' have to settle this another way.
Welcome to another edition of Critical Insight on Your World News. I'm your host, Solomon Kamajan, and joining me today from Johannesburg, South Africa, I'd prefer to say Azanian, and I know our guest would prefer to say Azanian as well, is Phangwa, who is he's a black activist and the president of the Socialist Azanian Youth Revolutionary Organization, which is the youth wing affiliated with the Socialist Party for Azania. It's a pleasure to have you on Critical Insight today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Solomon.
Definitely.
And hi to the viewers in the United States.
Definitely. And we're going to be talking about an issue that affects, us Africans in the U.S. I'm glad that we're closing this Atlantic divide, because many of the issues that you face there on the ground there are issues that we face here in the United States. And the issue of the topic of the day that we're going to start off is talking about police brutality. Can you start off by telling us what recently happened to you, and then we'll get into some more specific questions. But I want to talk about what happened to you. What exactly happened to you a couple weeks ago, where you were brutalized by the police?
Yeah, comrade, what happened to me was it was a surprise actually to the whole community, and especially the constituency of the people I lead, because we were from a funeral of one of the nephews of our leaders in the Socialist Party of Azanian, and we were just as young people, because he was the young comrade who actually was mainly on sport, and most of the youth attended the funeral, and we had friends coming all over South Africa to come to the funeral. So after the funeral, we just had a chill where we actually reminisce all the things that happened in the past, and just actually reviving his memory. So, it happened that I was in my yard, and the neighborhood is always watched by cops, especially when there's an activity by the youth or something. But now, the problem is that they came inside my yard. I was with my friends and my sisters, and we were just laughing, and, some friends were even preparing to leave at home. It was about 12 o'clock midnight. And the cops just came into my house, and they came inside the yard, of which, obviously, as a person, when you see a cop come inside your yard, you think, what have I done now? So he came inside, and I greeted him nicely and said, how can I help you, sir? And before I could actually say anything back, or he could say anything back, he just started grabbing me, and he said to me, you think you're smart or something. And I thought he was joking or something, because, these guys, they might be confused. Maybe they're confusing me with someone. Seeing that happening, and the other one came out of the car, and they started telling me that they need to arrest me. And I asked them why. And the friends also came, and other comrades came, why are you arresting him? And they started threatening them too, and the other one just pulled out his service pistol, and he started fending them off, and they had to actually surrender to the threat that he was giving them. My other friend tried to take photos of the incident, and he was attacked, and his phone just broke, and it was thrown in the mud or something. Because, most of the roads here are not tar. They don't have any tars, and some have tar, and, So I was arrested, and I was forcefully arrested, and was taken to a place, it's plus minus 8 miles from where I stay. And I was taken out of the police vehicle, and there was a mini lake or a dam, I can say so. I was taken there, and this one started taking out a gun, and he said to me, if you don't cooperate with us, do you know that we can kill you, and even your family won't know what happened to you? I was still confused what was happening, because I don't remember myself doing anything against the law, or the only thing I know, I'm an activist, and most of the police people and lawyers, they know about me, and they know me. And I even asked the guys, do you know who I am? And this other guy said, yes, we know exactly who you are, and if you don't cooperate, we're really going to kill you, and nobody's going to know. I said, okay, it's fine, but I just want you guys to explain to me why you arresting me. And it was something that actually, by saying that, it's like I said to them, continue beating me up, and they started kicking me. I was thrown inside the swamp there. There was water, and I mean, if now I could allow, I would show you my clothes. I still have those clothes I was wearing on that day, and my t-shirts were torn. And then it was something that I was really like shocked, and I had to keep quiet up until both of them, they went beside the car, and I was just sleeping because they said I must lie down, and the other one was saying, okay, so what's next now? Then the other one said, no, we can make a case for him. That's nothing. And I was taken to a nearby hospital, one of the major hospitals in South Africa, which is Baragwanath Hospital. I was taken inside a room there, and there was a doctor and two female nurses, and I was told I need to take out blood samples. And I was like, I'm not sick. Why must I take out blood samples? And they started beating me up again and said, we need your blood samples ASAP. I said, but if you don't tell me why, I can't give you something that I don't know why am I doing it. And the doctor came to them and said, you can't force him to do that. He needs to agree with you. And they said, no, we are, because by law, we can't force him to do it. And the doctor asked us to go outside, and they must actually talk to me nice so they can cooperate. On our way outside, they started beating me up, and it's just that my scars have actually healed now, but they started actually assaulting me from in the hospital, in front of the hospital staff, and they were looking at it, and you could see they were so scared to even try to stop them of what they're doing. And the other, she was a female guard who stands at the doors of the hospital. He even asked them, he said, what has he done? And he was told to back off. And she backed off, and they started twisting my arm, and this other one told me that if I don't cooperate, one thing that will happen, I'll be taken back where we came from, and they will beat me up. They will beat me up until I cooperate. I said to them, you know what, it's of no use to actually want me to cooperate on something I don't know why you are arresting me. And I was actually taken back into the room, and this other one twisted my arm, and the other one had to hold my arm. And the third police guy who brought another female, I think this lady was caught for drinking and driving or something. Then he had to help them, and they hold up my hand, and the doctor said, this is illegal. But she was told, and because, I mean, she's not a South African doctor. I think she's one of the Congolese doctors who work in the country, and she was told to do it, or else she will be reported in the morning why she actually refused to help them. And she had to actually take out my blood samples, and they were taken, and after then I was like, you know, if you've taken out blood, you feel drowsy a bit, and I was taken back into the van, and if you recall the story of Steve Biko, it's one of those vans, those old apartheid vans, right, metal vans, you've thrown at the back, and it's cold, and you're wet and everything. Then they just chucked me there into the van. They drove back where we were in that swamp, and they started the beating again. And they said to me, you're being difficult for nothing. And I said to them, I still don't understand why am I arrested. And I was never told up until I was taken to a police station, which is El Dorado Park police station. It's about 5 miles from where I stay. And I was just taken there, not explained anything. I was just locked up there. I was locked up for almost 12 hours up until my comrades came, and they demanded to see me. Luckily, there is a comrade who worked as a cleaner in the police station, and she told them that no, she had seen me getting in with the police, but they were refusing that they did arrest me. They said, no, we didn't arrest anyone like that. And my other comrades who normally works with the safety committee within the community, he had to make means that he get inside the cell, and the other guys had to smuggle him inside the cell so that he can try to find out if I'm there. And I was actually sleeping. I couldn't hear anyone shouting my name, and when I woke up, this guy woke me up who was a fellow inmate inside that cell. He said, I think there are people who are looking for you, and this cop said you're not here. I said, okay, next time you see them, can you just let me know? Maybe it was 5 minutes later, then this other guy came and said they were looking for you, and I went out. And I was just told by my comrades and my younger sister that we heard that you arrested for drinking and driving. I'm like, what the hell was that? Because my car is still inside the yard, and you guys were there. They said, yes, that's what we confused about, because you were taken from the house, and when we get here, we are told that we need to pay a bail to take you out. And I had to pay, I would say it in rands, it's 1,500 rands. I think it's plus minus 400 or 200 and or something dollars. So I had to take out a bail, and I was told tomorrow you must go to court. When I actually got to court, the prosecutor just called me on the side and said, were you really arrested drinking and driving? I said, no, I was fetched from my yard and I was arrested, and I was not even told why I was arrested. It was a surprise yesterday to hear from my younger sister that I'm arrested for drinking and driving. And the prosecutor said, you know what, I really don't entertain cases like this. I'm declining this case before it can even go to court. What you need to do, you need to go and claim your money back. And the case was just dismissed like that without even going to court. And I still asked the question, why did they do it? And I was told, and the prosecutor told me and said, you need to open the case because these guys assaulted you. I can see you injured and all this stuff. Go see the doctor, and there's a form here in Azania we use. It's called a J88 form. That's where you take it to the doctor, and the doctor examines you, and they actually write what has happened. Right. So the case is open, but nothing has happened. Even over the weekend, I saw these two guys, these two cops. They're walking around, still working, still holding their pistols, still trying to arrest people. We've done everything on our part. We've lodged complaints with independent commissions. We're trying to file a lawsuit against the state, but now get this kind of bureaucracy, you don't get legal assistance. You're told that, no, we can't assist you. This is a civil matter. Go consult with a private lawyer. When you get to a private lawyer, they obviously need more money for you to pursue a case, of which you need to go around and find the comrades who are actually are dealing with law matters, who are practicing and stuff. But however, to some of us as activists, we understand why is it happening, because most of activists in Azania, they being actually brutalized, they've been targeted by the police. Some of them, they've even been framed for crimes that they didn't do, more especially the black activists. Mm-hmm. For example, currently, if you check the population in the jails of Azania, plus minus 1% of white population, and the rest, it's black people and black young people, of which we're trying by all means to obey the law, just claim what's rightfully ours, more especially around the community rights. Recently, we've seen, especially with us as SAYRO, we've been busy assisting with the work, with the mine workers strike, and actually assisting even the families of the mine workers that have lost their lives to be able to actually face up with the daily life of their living. So it has been also difficult in terms of trying to even dealing with those families and mine workers, because even the freedom of association in Azania, it's a threat to the state. It's regarded as a threat to the state. You're seeing more than 5. It's just that they haven't publicly declared a state of emergency. But if you're seen in a group and having a discussion, you'd know that you'll be harassed by the cops, and the police will be asking you, why are you having a gathering, all those things. Right. And it's a very, like I say, difficult situation for activists, and especially those in the township. And when we check the Azanian liberation, which came about in 1994, never reversed any of the apartheid laws which applied more especially to black people. Because now, when you get the police raids that are happening within the country, it happened at the black areas. And you get their farms, white farmers who actually in possession of illegal firearms, they're having illegal activities. Some of them, they even actually manufacturing drugs within their farms. But you won't get single police even going to try and find out what's happening. But us in Azania, cops would just come in and shoot people and start, they create something, an alibi to be able to shoot people. Because, i.e., in 2007, in the township I stay in, it's in the southern Johannesburg, which is the part of Soweto. Mm-hmm. And we had lots of demands around, even currently, we're still pushing the demands that the development which is happening within the communities of Azania needs to benefit the people who live in it. It needs to benefit the communities. And when we find that we are currently dealing with people who've got money, who might be able to influence even the police, because those are private companies, the people who own private businesses. Mm. And the more you actually try to raise consciousness around the issues of people benefiting to the development which is actually said to be allocated for them, because billions of rands are allocated to the people, but private companies come and they extract profit. They're not here to develop the people. They would install cheaper infrastructure that would never last even for 2 years. They would actually give you most of us as young people, we stay in tin shacks. And when you stay in a tin shack, you can be eaten by any time. So we're trying to fight those injustices, especially against black people. But now it becomes so difficult that now you find the police stands to defend the property class, which is amongst the people of Azanian. And you get, it's more especially now they're using black police other than using the white apartheid police. They use black policemen.
Hardcore kids in the West got stressed. In the East, we are chased by the same black beast. The black cop is the only real obstacle. Black slave turned black cop is not logical, but very psychological. Haven't you heard? It's the black cop killing black kids in Johannesburg. What's up, black cop? Yo, what's up? Your authorization says shoot your nation. You wanna uphold the law? What could you do to me? This ain't law, this the whole black community. You can't play both sides of the fence.
To do their dirty work. And most of these white policemen, especially who are former apartheid police, they would come in a township and they would, if they are told to shoot, they can shoot. As it happened to Marikana, if you check, most of the police who were shooting there, it's mostly former apartheid, either agents, black agents, or it's apartheid white policemen who actually get excited to shoot black people. And most of these cases, because the media in Azania is actually representing the imperialist agenda within the country, it makes sure that these cases are shoved under the carpet. It makes sure that most of us, because we're coming from disadvantaged families, where you get most of us, we're living it's plus minus under $1 a day. And they make sure you can't even afford a lawyer, you can't even afford to even travel to their offices, to get a taxi or something to go to their offices and report such cases. They make sure that the police always stands to suppress any rising from the people. So it's that kind of a situation, and even the president of the country in the last week, he said a very shocking statement, which shocked the nation when he said, "Police brutality. There's no police brutality in South Africa. It's just he said it's just the isolated cases that occur, which exposes their bad apples amongst the cops." But our question is that how can a country which boasts a most liberal constitution in the world has a high record of police brutality since the African National Congress ANC government took over from the apartheid predecessors? Plus minus 15,000 black people died in their in custody or either at the hands of the police. 2 weeks ago, one guy by the name of Masia, Amido Masia from Mozambique, he was dragged at the back of the van. He was unlawfully arrested, dragged at the back of the van. Few hours, he was found dead in the cell. And on the same day I was attacked, one of my fellow comrade, who's also a community activist, was found dead at the same time when I was caught. He was actually found dead. He was hit with an axe and he was shot in the chest. And even now, nobody's been arrested for that. And you check the problem with this is that South Africa is a democracy of affordability. If you can afford, you will enjoy the democracy. But if you can't afford, you won't get any justice. And I mean, even the justice system on itself, it's actually showing that it's anti-black on itself. We remember in 2 years, there was an uprising in Fixbeck in Azanian where Comrade Andres Tatane was shot and killed by the police. And now the state is dropping charges against the police. And they said they had no intention to kill him. They were just dispersing. How can you don't have an intention if you'll shoot in a live ammunition and you're trying to disperse the protesting communities? So it's the police department and the Justice Department working together to make sure that these cases are not known by the international community. Right. And if you would see with Comrade Marcia, because he was a resident in South Africa, but he's a Mozambican citizen, the South African government went to his family in Mozambique and influenced the Mozambican family to put pressure on his family to drop all the charges against the state, of which they were forced to do that because they had no option. They were told that there would be nothing, the state is going to deal with them. And I mean, most of the time what they do in cases like this, you come, if they see the case they're going to lose in court, they know black people are poor. They can say, okay, we can just give you a couple of rands, you'll be fine. A couple of thousand rands, I think you'll be fine. Or they say we'll cover your medical expenses. Then people get to drop those cases and they get to just give up, they frustrate them. Because I see with me opening the case on that day, it took about 5 hours for them to even open a case for me, for them to even take a statement, of which we had to go with comrades and protest and say, we demand a case that should be open. And we were told by the station managers, which are station commanders, and we were told that we should wait up until they have a meeting and they decide if they can open a case or not. So, comrade, that's how the life of the activist in Azania.
I appreciate your being extremely candid in your story and letting folks know what's going on, the gravity of the situation right now on the ground in Azania. And as you spoke, I couldn't help but think about those same issues exist for black people here in the United States. It's a democracy of, as you said, affordability, those who have the resources. Also, if you happen to be white, you have a tremendously increased advantage in terms of not having injustice levied upon you or your community. In the U.S., Africans make up, black people make up about 13% of the population, but we represent close to 50% of the entire prison population. It's a prison industrial complex, as many activists, call it here. It's something that is it's based on profit, and so state by state, there's this profit motivation to incarcerate more and more people, because the more people you incarcerate, the more it's going to benefit the coffers of these corporations and also the coffers of some elected officials in different communities. And so it's very much and then when you talk about police brutality, African communities, black communities are plagued by police brutality. There was just recently a report that was done last year in 2012 by the Malcolm X grassroots movement that showed that in 2012 to this date, approximately about every 36 hours, a black person is killed by the police or so-called law enforcement, every 36 hours or less. And that's going on right now. And so, lastly, you talk about the media. The media is very much imperialist. It's a white supremacist, institutionally racist media that pushes it is very much imperialist. It pushes the imperialist agenda of the United States, which is the preeminent empire, imperialist empire in the globe today. And so that profit motivation right there, and to keep that status quo. And so they bury that report that I just mentioned to you was not picked up by any corporate or mainstream media whatsoever. I mean, and this should be seen as a national, or if not an international epidemic. Every 36 hours or less, a black person is killed by the police. And so, you know, your issues, and more of us have to see your issues, the issues that are going on in the continent, the issues that are going on right there in Azania, have to be the issues of us right here as well. You know, we have to share these issues, and vice versa. And so that leads me, and that's why you're on, you know, Your World News, because we are without a doubt in solidarity with your struggle and what's going on, and we're very familiar with the plight of black people within Azania. You know, we see what happened in the Marikana massacre. And those mine workers were brutally murdered, and it was caught on film, and so we know the truth. And so my question to you, my next question to you, as we start to draw to a close, is what solutions and assistance would you and your comrades, other activists, other black activists on the ground in Azania, require from international black movements in the U.S. and the U.K. and beyond, and those folks that are undoubtedly in solidarity with your struggles right there in Azania?
Thank you very much, comrade. You know, just to touch on the issue you've just touched now, I mean, even in Azania, we don't know about the things that are happening in the States. More especially, what we know about the States is the life which is left by the likes of 50 Cent and all the things, of which to me, the main assistance that would actually require, more especially from you comrades from that side, it's for us now, we will be actually starting campaigns against the state and starting to actually raise an awareness, more especially with SAYRO. SAYRO now, we have actually started to initiate, we want community advice centers, because the problem we have seen in Azania is just these crimes are perpetuated mainly because people of Azania are more illiterate on the side of the law. They don't understand what are their rights, and we are actually starting now to establish advice centers that would be based in black communities, where the black communities would be actually to get advice from us as activists to try to actually advise them what needs to happen when such incidents happen. And also would actually need you from that side, comrades, to make sure to make our plea and our plight to be heard globally, because I mean there's no media freedom in Azania. To be honest with you, there's no media freedom. That means if something happens in Azania, if the mainstream media in Azania didn't actually have, they don't have something to sell out of it, it's not known. And I would say, I don't know, in terms of actually trying to get assistance from you comrades from that side, in terms of helping us establish these advice centers, establish and make them more viable and make them more to have more impact in the lives of the black people, because now we are reaching a stage where we would see a black on black violence, because at the same police who are brutalizing people, they come back and they are members of the community. And it's so, in a funny way, in Azania, you get a policeman who's a next door neighbor who would work at another area which is farther than there. But when you see him, you don't recognize it as police. What happens if he has brutalized someone from around who happen to see them now? They would attack them. And more especially, police have been attacked lately since the incidents have happened. So, would really require more assistance from your comrades, and more especially on the legal side of it, so that we can actually have a base around the legal aspect of everything that is happening, and making sure that people understand their human rights, and making sure that we have the center that would assist our people to get more knowledge about the law. And we won't be specializing only on about criminal law and civil law. We'll be specializing on all aspects of law, even the labor laws and everything, to make sure that the black society get out of things, because there's no justice at all. But we want to actually take justice to the people and push for people to make sure that people are prepared even when we mobilize and demanding justice. So we'll be starting campaigns as SAYRO and the Socialist Party of Azania. We'll be starting campaigns around police brutality. And currently we're starting to work with the high schools and the young black high schools, that we are actually trying to form a community that would voice out the voice from the young people in saying enough is enough on the police brutality, and calling for a full commission of inquiry that would actually bring to justice to all victims of police brutality. And currently we are trying to also raise funds to actually make sure that we take care of those who are victims of the police brutality, more especially as we have started with the Marikana mine workers and the victim and their families. We're starting to gather even clothing. We're starting to get even some money to those families. I mean, the last time we were at the launch of the book, some other comrades, they said, we can't actually offer maybe any monetary value, but we can write a book about Marikana which will be sold, and it will actually bring those proceeds to the families. But the problem was that the South African state had to can that book also, so because it actually told the whole truth about what happened to Marikana. But however, what we would need those kind of assistance if our comrades could be able to assist us in terms of taking care of the victims themselves. Because in my township currently, I've used one of my offices as one of the advice centers, that I advise people on what has happened, more especially from a person who's been a victim of police brutality. It's not the first time. I mean, if we can Google my name as Mandlenkosi or Mandla Phangwa. In 2007, I was also pistol whipped at the major South African major broadcasting unit, which is SABC. And I was actually pistol whipped when I was actually protesting against the media coverage in our black society. So it's something that helps me, because the people already know and they understand that I've been through this thing. So I think, comrade, our assistance will be based on that, but we'll continue to engage more and alerting you, comrades, of what's happening.
Definitely, definitely, and in that vein, really quickly, what folks that are watching now, somebody that's watching this video right now, how can they feel compelled, they want to find out how they can get involved. How can they get in contact with you, Mandla?
Okay, you can actually contact me on via our organization. We've got a Facebook page, which is Socialist Azanian Youth Revolutionary Organization, and we also have an email address, which is info.syro@gmail.com. Currently, we have a website, but it was hacked during our activism in Marikana because it actually attracted more young people because we always gave them the first-hand news of what's happening in Marikana because we were there. And constantly giving them an update, and our site was hacked, and one of our comrades who's dealing with the technical stuff is dealing with it. But they can actually get us on Facebook. We are on Facebook and on email, and we've got a number of which a Joburg number, which is actually, you can contact myself. It's 076 153 4469. That's 076 153 4469. So this is how you can contact us. On our SAYRO email, you can get in contact with Tumi Zwano, who is a general secretary for SAYRO. So that's how you can actually get hold of us.
Thank you so much, and look forward to having you on again. And if you can perhaps be our eyes and ears on the ground in Azania, and we can bring you back on periodically to find out what's going on the ground there in Azania, because a lot of folks should understand that, you know, despite the fact that so-called apartheid ended in 1994, you know, black people in Azania in South Africa are living very much the same way they were living in the 80s and so forth. They are under the boot of oppression. White people are the ones that the white minority in South Africa continues to own the vast majority of the land there. They have the access to the best schools, the best medical clinics. As you said before, it's a very, very scant, you know, amount that are represented in the, you know, in the prisons themselves, and the people that occupy the townships, whether it's the Cape Flats or the southwest townships in Joburg. The vast majority of those people are all African people, all black people. And so that's something that folks on this end need to know, because I think that a lot of folks just simply think that, you know, that when Mandela came to power that all was good, but that's the complete opposite of what actually happened. And so we need your eyes and ears. So I hope that you'll join us again many times in the future to update us on the progress that's being made on the ground with your activist work, with your comrades within the Socialist Azanian Youth Revolutionary Organization, as well as the Socialist Party of Azania. Would you mind doing that?
Absolutely, comrade. I would be available for any time if you need updates and stuff on what's happening in Azania. And I mean, now we are preparing for June 1976, of which now we're preparing a major event which will attract more Azanian youth. In terms of, actually, we want to use the June 16 as the exposure and the call to retaliate on the hands of, more especially on the police brutality side, because if you check the June 1976, it's classified as police brutality, the same as police brutality. So as SAYRO, we are actually working with the Azanian school of thought, of which includes the Pan-Africanist youth, it includes the Black Consciousness entire youth, and with the Black Wash, we are working in making a major event that will actually try to also commemorate what happened in June 1976, and also commemorate recent incidents that has happened in Marikana, that has happened in Vicksburg, that has happened in Cape Town, the farm workers. We want to actually bring, and the theme for this year, we're saying we actually bringing back and reclaiming the revolutionary spirit of the youth of 1976. So our theme for this year, SAYRO, is reclaiming the revolutionary spirit of 1976. So we actually already, maybe Malcolm X grassroots level would have already received an invite, because we wanted Malcolm X grassroots level to be part of this historical event, where we would get a delegation from Malcolm X grassroots level, so also come the site and see for themselves, and we would actually take a tour. And we would also ourselves want to actually come to the United States and have a tour and a speaking tour, whereby we would actually relate the issues.
Right. Well,
sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on again.
I really appreciate the opportunity, comrade, and keep the light burning and push the struggle.
Right on.
Amandla.
Amandla.
I got a letter from the government the other day. How been and dreaded and burned that. Man, the way that I live don't concern that. Man, we gon' have to settle this another way. A letter from the government the other day. How been